Hello everyone and welcome to Wowhead Weekly number 100. Wait, no. 200. I'm so used to saying 100 that I started with it again, but no.
100 and 100 together.
Today's show is number 200, which is a huge milestone. So you're going to be seeing some balloons and everything in the full overlay, which I'll switch into very, very soon. But before I do that, let me introduce myself. I'm Annie, or also known as Annie Fuchsia. I stream full-time on Twitch, mostly playing World of Warcraft. So before we continue, let me actually introduce my co-host, Perculia.
Hey everyone, I'm Perk. I run Wowhead. I am not at home today, so that is why there is a picture instead of a video, but I'm very busy preparing for patch 8.2 and getting some last minute features out the door before the patch. And yeah, we're very excited about episode 200. We've got balloons, we've got a picture of Rightpaw, and we have a giveaway to celebrate. It is a bundle of the Enchanted Fey Dragon and the Alterac Brew Pup, and the keyword is WHW 200. And the 200 is 200, not the big word. So, WHW 200.
Is it case sensitive? I just realized I typed it with small case.
That is a SAS question.
That's a SAS question.
Yes.
Because I realized people might actually copy what I wrote and then I just messed it up. Not case sensitive. All right, awesome. JD Sophia just typing it out. Like W. Okay, gotcha. But yes, the balloons are here. It is episode 200. I can't believe I messed that up. I didn't think I would say 100 and something. Because it crossed my mind, like, what if I would do that? But then I was like, no, like 200 is the main celebration of this show. I'm not going to forget it, but I did forget. Almost said episode 100 and 200. But didn't really work. Yeah. But yes, balloons are here. Perk is away. That's why we see her in a picture. But the show should still be able to hopefully go on as usual. And we should still be able to share everything that we have. Before we jump into the actual content, we have some resubs that I'd like to thank. We have JD Saphir with 38 months in a row. Thank you very, very much. And Lincoln with the 18 months. Oh wait, that's a year and a half. That's how long I've been here, which makes sense. Thank you. Thank you to both of you guys. Really appreciate it. Oh, apparently JD Saphir redeemed a Wowhead plushie with his nether shards, which means that we could also quickly let you guys know what the nether shard system is. Basically, by watching the show, just being in the chat, you collect points over time. Doing nothing, just sitting in the chat, you get these points, or nether shards as we call them. You can use those points to redeem different things. If you scroll down a little bit, there is a little panel where you can see the different things that are available. The Wowhead plushie, for example, which is the one that JD Saphir redeemed. Wowhead Weekly pin, which is me and Perk on a little pin that you can put on, I don't know, a bag or a shirt or anything. And there's some other pins as well. And yeah, you can take a look at yourself. There's a lot of different things that you can redeem. And you do that with your points, which means spending time here can get you an actual physical item as a thank you.
Yeah. So,
yes.
Patch 8.2.
Yes.
We have a date.
We do.
It's what we were speculating in the past with June 25th US and 26th EU. Get out ahead of the American holiday July 4th weekend, and it coincides very, very nicely with the Final Fantasy expansion pre-order. So
you're like cutting out a little bit every now and again. I can still tell what you're saying. It's cutting out at, I guess, parts that's not super important, but just a heads up. I'll keep an eye on that. You can continue speaking though.
Okay. So it is coming out on the 25th. We had a week notice on it. We learned it on Tuesday. And we know every week we talk about, whatever is new on the PTR, but we wanted to go over the major features we can expect at the start of the patch, because some of the features are not coming at the start of the patch. They are coming a little bit later.
Yeah,
So,
just like last patch as well. There was a lot of confusion about what is new patch, what is new season, and we thought this would be a great time to go through what is happening now next week and what we can expect a little bit in the future after that.
right. So the first thing you'll be doing in 8.2 regardless is going to Najatar, because that is where you meet Queen Ashara. You explore the spooky underwater zone that is her kingdom, and you meet the Naga. And you need to do part of Najatar to access the Heart of Azeroth Essence system, which is basically Blizzard's trying to be a short-term fix to the problems caused by Azerite not feeling, exciting
Special.
to collect or look
Yeah.
at.
Mm-hmm.
But there's another zone. It is Mechagon, and that is where you meet the Mechanomes, and it's very different than Najatar. Najatar is all about, like, you do a story and then you explore along the way, but Mechagon is just very open world sandboxy with lots of hidden secrets and things to explore, and kind of like steampunk gadgets, so very different in feel.
Mm-hmm.
We are getting Gnome and Tauren heritage armor.
Mm-hmm.
So they joined the dwarves and the blood elves as the not allied races to get the special armor.
So which ones do we have left then?
So we have 4 main races that have them, which would put it's still over half that don't. So on the
Mm-hmm.
alliance side, we have the
Humans?
night elves, the humans,
Mm-hmm.
Worgen, and
Mm-hmm.
Draenei.
Mm-hmm.
Then on Horde we have the orcs, undead, goblins, and I am forgetting one. Who
Yeah,
which one is
I'm
it?
forgetting horde races too. Maybe chat can help.
Yes.
I think we forgot
We
one
go,
of them. But yeah, so there's still a few to go then.
yeah.
Troll. Did you say troll?
No, I did not say troll.
There you go.
Yes. I was thinking like Zandalar had
Zandalar,
to go,
yeah.
but yes. Yeah. So we know that the Worgen and Goblin are getting them next when their revamp occurs in 8.25.
Yeah. So there's that. Got
Yep.
some more heritage armors. Completing the whole selection very soon.
Yep.
With the new
And these heritage
patch.
armor ones are interesting
Mm-hmm.
because they come with like little toys when you get them. So the Tauren have like an ancestral totem toy,
Mm-hmm.
and the gnomes have some like little flavor thing that works like the flight whistle, but it's gnomish in flavor.
Mm. Well, that's cool.
Yep.
So a little bit more flavor to the armor.
Yeah, there's
More
also an
reasons to farm
interesting
it. Mm-hmm.
unlock you have to do, which we'll get to in the unlock section. That's a bit different. But another thing is the next phase of the war campaign is happening.
Yep.
Where we see what is the fate of Bane Bloodhoof
Yes.
after, his confrontation with Sylvanas.
Mm-hmm.
And as we've all seen with the cinematic, Thrall is once again joining the picture.
Mm-hmm.
So he
So
will
probably more
also,
of him as well.
yeah, playing a grand return in this.
Mm-hmm. Together with
And
Starfang.
yep, then we've got flying.
Yes,
You will be
flying
able
is
to
coming out
fly.
soon. Mm-hmm.
Yep, and it's not just the BFA zones, but it's also Najatar and Mechagon.
Yeah, I was surprised about that actually.
Yeah,
Initially. I mean, this isn't news.
I
We
was
were told
too.
about this before, but yeah, I'm still surprised about it.
Yeah, I mean it's an interesting choice. I think I'm okay with it. I think that if Blizzard designs Najatar and Mechagon to still feel, interesting to explore with flight, that's a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I have no problem with that. And the zones do look really cool.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, go out there and fly.
I think I was expecting a sort of initially. I was expecting a sort of area like Argus, I guess, where we're not meant to ever fly. Especially,
Well, we still have 8.3. or 8.25.
Yeah, I guess maybe we get another zone. Because a lot of times these zones have also been compared to Timeless Isle. Which one is it? Is it Mikigon, which will be the new Timeless Isle with a lot of rares and everything?
Well, both of them do, but both of them do. I
Okay.
think that I feel like Nazjatar is more similar to Timeless Isle, and
Okay.
Mechagon is more the sandboxy place, but they both have very similar aspects with the rares and
Okay.
the like treasures
Mm-hmm.
and things that just pop up that are cool.
Mm-hmm. Because you can't fly a Timeless Isle, right?
No, which made it very interesting to farm Huolon because you had to like
Mm-hmm.
go up the mountain
Yep.
all that time.
Yeah. I feel like when they add these sort of extra zones on the sides, it's okay if you can't fly there. So I'm surprised that they decided to let flying be a thing here. But
Yeah, I
but
mean
maybe
maybe
that's
we'll
because
see.
they realized the zone was very big, so I don't know. Maybe flying feels better.
Yeah, or maybe they figured that it would take long enough to get flying to where you would like have to explore the nooks and crannies on foot beforehand.
Yeah, I think he said for an active player it'll take a few weeks, which isn't that long though, to get the correct
Yeah,
reputation. I think that's what he said. I'm not sure.
yeah, or maybe I mean maybe based on their analytics or
Mm-hmm.
whatever metric they use, they figured that people were responding better if they could fly in zones, so they didn't want this one quite to be like Argus, or maybe they have a really unique no flying zone
Coming up
further
later.
planned.
Yeah,
Yeah.
probably. Probably. I feel like every expansion has a place where you can't fly, or should have, rather. Makes it kind of special.
Yeah.
But yeah, and
Uh
one more little feature, I guess we should call it, is the mount equipment. So that means that if you're one of the people who, like me, got the water strider, you will no longer need it in order to walk on water because the new equipment is introduced, which gives your mounts a special perk, one of them being water walking. That also means that your water striders will lose the ability to water walk without using this equipment.
Yeah, and just as a quick rundown of what we can expect in the mount equipment, there are 5 total. The mount shoes are from blacksmiths, and that's the water walking effect. Uh, the angler's water striders are basically the consolation prize if you already had the water strider from Angler's Reputation.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like much easier to get and cheaper than the blacksmithing version. Uh, the enchanters can make the light stuff hoof plates that are ground movement speed. The saddle chute from tailoring is you slow fall, and the rider's barding is from leatherworking, which prevents you from being dazed.
Yeah. That day's
So
one is
those are
really
the effects.
useful in questing and killing things.
And some of these will not be used with items that already have interesting equips. For example, the you cannot use mountain equipment with the Sky Golem because that already has an interesting bonus.
Wait, so it doesn't work at all? You can't
Yeah, I
add the
think that
equipment to it?
snuck into the patch notes without that
Oh.
being in a blue post. The patch notes were just published a few hours ago, and there was a few little interesting
Okay.
details. But yeah, I think that was one of them. They said was you know going to be coming. You know, it was just limited to the Sky Golem, and you cannot put extra stuff on the Sky Golem. Gonna try
Okay.
to find it quickly.
Interesting.
Oh, note that mounts Oh, note that some do not benefit from mount equipment at all, such as the Sky Golem.
Okay.
So there we go.
Interesting. You know, I think I would have preferred if the water strider was like that too. It just
Yeah, I feel like
stays
we were
as water
talking about
walking.
that in an old show
Yeah.
where we said, why don't we just have that be the water
Yeah,
mount and
yeah.
just
And just
yeah
not be affected by the equipment. Because that way, then
yeah.
you can still like bind as an extra mount for water walking, and then you can switch around. I think that would actually be better. But yeah, obviously, this does help people be able to use their favorite mount, even for water walking or whatever else they feel is the most important.
So now you can put the water walking equipment on your dreadship boat, and you can
Yes.
actually have the boat on the water.
Imagine that. The
Yep.
Dreadwake. It's like the ship can actually float on water. It's insane. Pog. We got some other important unlocks together with 8.2. We
Yep.
have a new reputation.
Yeah.
What is the
So
reputation called?
the two reputations in Nashitar, the Unshackled, and the Yankoan, you need to do a short quest line in Nashitar before this opens up. And we wanted to
Okay.
highlight the unlocks because a lot of 8.2 is just like, oh, go out there and do it, but you actually have to do things in a certain order in order to access things.
Okay.
So we're just highlighting these things so people aren't, lost at the very start of the patch.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, we've got the reputation, and you have to be revered with those for the flying. Then, if you do a few more quests, the Nazjatar quest just stops, and you're forced to do the Heart of Azeroth Essence Chain. So, if you're logging in day one of the patch, and you're like, okay, give me my essence, you have to do like 10 quests in Nazjatar before you can do the short quest line to unlock the essence.
Gotcha. Okay, so quests in Najatar to unlock new reputations, quests in Najatar for Heart of Azeroth Essence System. So it sounds like what we have to do is just jump straight into Najatar.
Yeah.
And there's more.
And yeah, if you do maybe like 15 quests, you then have a stopping point in Najatar where it sends you to start the war campaign. So if and the war campaign is important because you need to do it in order to get Tauren heritage armor, with
Yep.
makes sense because you're obviously rescuing Bane, who is a Tauren. But yeah, I know usually heritage armor is like very casual, with dwarves and the other races it's just 120 and hit
Yeah.
exalted, but for the Tauren you need to do the war campaign.
So
So
it's only the
it's a
Tauren
bit.
one that requires the war campaign then.
Yeah, and
Okay.
you don't need to do the campaign on the Tauren. It just has to be one character on your account.
Yeah.
But that's still, you need to finish the war campaign on one character.
Mm-hmm. You need to show that you care about Bane.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
It would be awkward if you finished it, but you were picking all the choices to
Help Sylvanas.
yes, I have Sylvanas. Because it's like, oh, we saved Bane, but our heart wasn't in it, but we still get this armor.
Yeah.
And this is another part that I feel people will be confused or skip over.
Yes.
Mechagon, you can't see the NPCs if you do not do that quest line in Najatar and then do the breadcrumb. I believe you can still explore it, but you won't be able to do, you won't be able to interact with NPCs or see the fight master.
Mm-hmm. So
So
continue in Nazjatar to also unlock Mechagon, the second new zone.
yeah. And these should not be bad. It's not like, oh, when you're revered, you get to go to Mechagon. But yeah, just keep questing, and you should unlock these things pretty quickly.
Mm-hmm.
And we've updated all this information on our attunement tracker and what you need to do on the flying tracker. So if you are lost, the guides will, tell you what to do.
In order to unlock the Azeroth Essence System and the Reputations, the War Campaign, Mechagon on Alt, do we know anything about that?
So I know Heritage Armor is just I think it's per character. Except for Heritage Armor, then it's just one character has to do War Campaign on either Alliance or Horde to do Tauren Heritage Armor.
So if you want to do Mechagon, you have to go through the quest line on all the characters.
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay.
And Ian recently, I'm pulling this up. We'll talk more about Ian a little bit later, but I believe he talked about essences and something being account wide or not in a video he made. I'm scrolling down to the part. He said, no, it was not in the part. Never mind.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I was like, I think I watched that today. I don't remember him mentioning that.
Yeah, he was talking about he was saying that essences will not be easier to get, not that they were
Yes. Okay.
alternate things.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
But I believe thing is character specific as far as unlocking essences.
Yes.
Because that would be strange if you were really
you
good
suddenly
on one character and you unlocked something from Mythic Ashara and then you didn't know how to play your alt, but you had access to this amazing essence.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. And as we mentioned, yeah, the war campaign is only needed on one character for the heritage armor.
Yep.
So we have an 8.2 trailer.
Yeah, I think we should watch it quickly because while we've seen some of the clips, we haven't seen all of the clips, and Ashara's voice is really cool, and it's teasing future cinematics, and there's a mystery of a certain pillar of creation that makes an appearance.
Mm-hmm. Let me get the video ready. And let's watch it together.
Yeah.
My queen, they have arrived. Wonderful. Set the tide stone, won't you? My empire is vast, beyond dreams. I almost envy you, beholding such grandeur in the presence of your true queen. Now, swear your loyalty to me, or refuse and be crushed beneath the waves. Fire! Surely you must realize you cannot resist. All that you see, all that you fear, all of it is mine to rule. Welcome to Nazjatar. I've been waiting
Rise of the
for you.
June 25th. Yes, go ahead.
So, which part did you like the most? Because I have one part I put in the notes, but which part did you think was cool?
I think I just loved seeing Ashara, like, and her speaking, and I don't know. I didn't really think about favorite part specifically. Wait, what part did you have in mind?
Oh, so I liked Ashara's voice.
Yes,
I like how
I loved her voice. It was amazing.
Yeah, she just sounds so confident and almost happy to see us. And I think it's an interesting change of pace from these past patch teasers where everyone sounds very like on edge or frantic, but she just seems very cool and collected and like we're gonna have a good time.
Mm-hmm.
I liked seeing the shipwreck occur because to me that was a tease. We're getting some interesting cinematics coming next week, and maybe we will finally get some answers as to why Sylvanas thought going there was a good idea in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
But what I wanted to talk about a little bit was what is the deal with the Tidestone of Wolganet?
Yes.
Because we spent a lot of early Legion retrieving the Pillars of Creation and then bringing them to the Tomb of Sargeras to seal it and keep these pillars safe.
Yep.
And now a pillar has clearly been taken, which
And it's with Ashara.
yes. And
How did this
that is
happen?
right. And she's tried to steal it before several times
Mm-hmm.
in the past.
Mm-hmm.
Throughout history, we go through this in Azuna. We, take it back from the Eye of Ashara dungeon. Mistress Sazine is in the tomb in the first place to try to steal it back. I guess third time is a charm. But it's not good. There are a lot of bad implications.
Mm-hmm.
Ashara is saying that we left it unguarded, which means that there are other pillars there that are unguarded.
Yep.
So are other, villains out there stealing our pillars from this tomb and using them for bad things.
Yes. And to give perspective of how important this is, there was a quote from Magni, right, where he was talking about dealing with the sword in Silithus, the stabbing of Azeroth, and how we have to help it using something very, very powerful. The Tidestone was mentioned, but we can't use it because it has to keep Tomb of Sagira's. It has to keep it the Legion sealed, and the only other option was then to use our artifact weapons, and that's why we had to sacrifice them. And now they're just unguarded and taken by Ashara.
Yeah, that is really bad news.
Yep.
And these pillars are all really powerful. And in the wrong hands, they could do some serious damage.
Mm-hmm.
For example, the Aegis of Agrimar was meant to defend the world soul against madness and corruption.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems like Azeroth is dying, so sinister forces might want to get a hold of this to prevent us from using it to heal Azeroth. Mm-hmm. And the Eye of Aman'Thul has powers of temporal magic and teleportation. And that seems, it also created the Nightwell. So that seems really bad if that was floating around, possibly moving prisons where they shouldn't be, or further empowering the Maelstrom, or that one seems very bad to be out there.
Mm-hmm.
And it just makes us wonder, who would want to get their hands on this? Would the old gods want to get their hands on this? Would Sylvanas want to get her hands on this because, she already has the Blade of the Black Empire? Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of dark implications, but it could make for an interesting story, as a lot of people, were sad that Tehran's story was on hold, or that Prince Ferrandis from Azuna was not, part of the storyline, as, Ashara sort of damned his people, and both of them have they have reasons to fight against Ashara. So maybe this plot would lead to them having, a role in the future as we try to clean up this whole mess. Or Khadgar could return, because Khadgar was helping us retrieve these pillars.
Yep.
And I think he'll be very disappointed that we're colossally messing up and undoing everything from Legion.
Yeah, that we worked so hard on.
Yeah. Hopefully they don't become, pillars of sort of anti-creation.
Yep.
In the wrong hands.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's I'm sure now that the tomb is open, people will want to, not people, but entities will want to use that for evil.
Mm-hmm.
And we've seen Ashara apparently the Tidestone for really bad deeds in this trailer. Mm-hmm. And you can imagine what would happen if the other ones were used as well. Mm-hmm. And the pillars of creation were originally used to reshape the world of Azeroth after the war with the old gods. So what could happen if they were used to reshape the world, but in the hands of the old gods, not the Titans.
Yep. I also found
So-
it really cool in the cinematic how it looked like visually with the Tidestone being put in and then the water sort of what word would I use? Like kind of like spreading, creating a hole to see the new land. That looked really cool.
Yeah, the like parting the seas.
The parting of the seas. Thank you. Yes, that's
Yes.
it. That looked really cool.
So, I think I think that we're all so concerned on focusing Ashara and like, oh, how do we disable the Tidestone to get into the raid? But there is a much bigger problem in the background,
Mm-hmm.
and it has to be deliberate. It's really interesting how Legion like felt very good that we were working together and winning, and BFA seems to be about like, you know, analyzing what happens after the happy ending.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, like, good job, you retrieved all the pillars, and then a war hit, so you ignored the pillars, and now that's coming back to really become a big problem for you as they were stolen, type thing.
Mm-hmm.
Or like, oh, that's nice, you had peace and you worked together, and then you achieved your goals, so the peace fell apart, and now there are consequences. So it's sort of analyzing the long-term fallout after the short-term victory.
Mm-hmm.
So those are my trailer thoughts. I'm sure that when the cinematic comes out, we will have even more thoughts, which I'll try to write up the day of. I'm already doing research on like different types of shipwrecks in paintings throughout the years, just in case there's any interesting imagery I want to you know, bring up when I do the analysis.
Yes.
Like 19th century romantic shipwrecks. I have a feeling they'll play an appearance.
Romantic shipwrecks. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be cool. Yes.
Yeah.
Moving on, we can start talking about Season 3. So we talked about the new patch, 8.2, and the different things which we'll see with 8.2 hitting the servers next week. And Season 3 is when further changes happen on the live game exactly 2 weeks after the patch hits. So what does this mean? What is new?
So this means that all the competitive content is now available. So we've got the notorious PvP season, which comes with the Gladiator and Aspirant armor, as well as the Vicious mount to work towards. We have the new Mythic Affix Beguiling. We have Eternal Palace Normal and Heroic open. And we also have the Mechagon Dungeon, which is surprising people because it shares the name with the Zone, which opens earlier, and it's not available on Mythic Plus difficulty, but it's coming as part of the Season 3 bundle. And
wait, Mechagon Dungeon will not have a Mythic Plus?
No, because it's like a special large dungeon for now. Okay. It's like Karazhan, how it was in the start, and then they changed it later on.
Yeah. Okay, got it. So it hasn't been confirmed to be possibly split up for Mythic Plus in the future?
Yeah, they say they probably will do a Karazhan thing like 4 and 4.
Gotcha.
And there is a hard mode. It's so some of it's known, but not all of it. There is some sort of speedrun hard mode component to the Mechagon Dungeon, which is interesting. So there will still be like a challenge status thing to do, but
maybe with some cool rewards.
Yeah. And many essences are only available from season 3 content as well. For example, everyone is talking about the Vision of Perfection and Conflict and Strife, but the Vision of Perfection is from the Mechagon Dungeon, so you cannot get it from the content that some of the really heavy season 3 content
a little bit.
Some of the important ones, like I think maybe 30 or 40% come from season 3. So it's a fair amount that you can't get in advance of the raid.
Yes.
Also, there are things you can't do when season 3 hit, namely Ahead of the Curve, Cutting Edge, and Hall of Fame for Desire Lore and Crucible will stop. Yep. We know that like no Alliance guilds have done Hall of Fame, but Blizzard said in a reply they feel that it should pick up as like a softener when you do Crucible with essences, but
Yep.
it's still really sad there's not many alliance guilds.
We need more mythic raiders on Alliance side.
Yeah.
But yeah, hopefully the new essences will make people strong enough for guilds to, have that extra little push to be able to clear the raids. So maybe we can have 100 guild Hall of Fame for Alliance as well in the next 2-3 weeks. Because
Yeah.
as season 3 hits, Ahead of the Curve and Cutting Edge will be removed. So I will also personally on my own stream help people get ahead of the curve. Not Cutting Edge, unfortunately, because I'm not a mythic raider. But ahead of the curve is something that I'm gonna try and help as many people as possible get, since that will also go away.
That's really nice. And as for the raid schedule, just to reiterate, Eternal Palace Normal and Heroic is on July 9th US, July 10th EU. The Mythic race starts the week after on July 16th US and July 17th EU, and that's also the first wing of LFR. So there's no data mined or announced mount for Mythic Ashara, which is interesting. I don't know if that's a surprise or there's just not a mount for killing her.
Feels like there should be one, like a missed opportunity, like a cool water mount.
Yeah, I think that would be interesting. Some sort of like octopus or really like a night elf inspired mount, but kind of old godified. Like I know like the Snapdragons are descendants of night sabers, so maybe we could get some weird looking weird looking creature that is some sort of mutated elven species. But I don't know, maybe that's meant to be a surprise.
Guess we'll see. Maybe one is added later.
Yeah. What I'm also looking forward to is the cinematic, of course. I mean, there's always a cinematic. And we know there are some big questions in the Ashara fight. For example, why she's really happy to, see us, why she's welcoming us, what is the grand reveal, why doesn't she just, kill us? So I can't wait to see that. And of course, there's all sorts of funny things in the raid. For example, if you spit or you're rude to Ashara, she gives you nasty debuffs, but if you love her, you little hearts over your head, cute stuff like that. So I'm sure we will talk more about the raid closer to launch. There is more raid testing this weekend, and we are planning our raid strategy guides as usual. They just take a little bit to go up because each boss has only been tested like once, and they're usually very buggy, so we don't want to write something early that will not be helpful just for the sake of saying we have a pretty looking guide, even if it's not very good. But we want to talk a little bit about ways to gear up in launch and season 3. Especially I was asking Jeremy Fiesel about ways to gear up and the complexity of WoW in an interview I had, and he was talking about how while Battle for Azeroth launch felt very straightforward with, it just felt, it felt like you were losing your artifacts, and the Azerite was all very straightforward procs, and there wasn't too much to think about. There are so many components you can keep track of in 8.2, from rings with weird procs to interactions with essences to some effects on gear from Nazjatar, and then new zone-specific Azerite, and then a trinket where the Azerite interacts with that. So let's just recap some of the cool ways to gear up in 8.2. The first way to gear up is benthic gear. This is Nazjatar. And you can turn in prismatic mana pearls to get tokens and upgrade them up to 425, which is nearly on par with heroic loot. And the tokens, the stats, it doesn't Titan Forge, and the stats are static, no RNG. But the part which is interesting is that they can have a variety of weird, fun effects. Some of them are useful for combat, like increased damage against aberrations. And there are bosses which are aberrations. Some are useful for exploration, like, you move faster. And some of them are just weird fun effects for exploration. Like there's this mount that you get from a trading game, and you need to equip a cape with a special effect in order to buy some of the items.
Oh, that's cool.
So I feel like that will appeal to a lot of specialized players. And it seems to be taking some of the effects of the Timeless Isle gear and tweaking them a bit. I remember with Timeless Isle gear, the stats were all randomized. And that part has been taken out, so I think people should be happy about that. But I think that the effects are cool. I mean, a lot of them don't affect combat, like, oh, you're 5% bigger, or your swim speed is faster.
Yeah, there's a lot of really cool effects like that.
Yeah.
Swim speed.
Then we have Mechagon. And Mechagon, the zone, not the dungeon, has a special trinket with customizable punch cards. And what that means is that when you get this trinket, it doesn't really do anything. It's just this, like, epic in your bag.
Kind of reminds of the older engineering helms, right?
Sorry? What about the engineering
Kind
helms?
of reminds of the engineering helms where you had to put in your own sockets.
Oh, yeah,
and they had less stats than, like, without the sockets they had less stats, but then you could put
like,
insane
but then
gems.
when you put in the special cog wheels, they became overpowered.
Yes, that's it, yes.
Yeah.
They were really strong.
Because these are mechanomes, they are inspired by engineering, and it's kind of a similar vibe. And instead of saying, oh, you're going to socket this item with a gem, it's a fancy term called a punch card. And there are 3 types of punch cards you can put in. Some of them offer, straight stats, while some of them have, weird effects like underwater breathing or really powerful equips. So when you put 3 of them in the trinket, then it actually becomes pretty good. And there's even an Azurite trait that when you have the trinket equipped, the Azurite trait is more powerful. So another interesting interaction there. And then Season 3, of course, with Ashara's Eternal Palace, new high item level gear.
What item level do we get for normal runs?
You get 415 for normal runs, 430 heroic, and 445.
Okay, gotcha. So it's quite a bit of a jump of eye level, as we've experienced in the past, so it's not too surprising.
Nope.
But yeah, that does mean that you probably want to do your normal and heroic runs, at least for the first few weeks, even if you're a mythic raider.
Yeah, and to, do those mana pearls to get heroic quality gear for things you're having bad luck drop rates with. And then we also have Operation Mechagon loot, which is the dungeon. And the weapons and rings have these really weird and intriguing procs on them. So
I noticed one of the cloaks. It gives you, when you're wearing the cloak, it gives you the ability to choose Trash Master as a title.
Yes.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
So Trash Master in fuchsia just walking around in Stormwind.
Yeah, and then there's another cloak where it's basically a Hearthstone, and the wording on it makes it seem like it's a very clear D&D reference. So there's some silly things in there, but then there's some interesting things like your critical hits have a chance to zap your target for nature damage. There are wrists that have use effects, and wrists are usually like very boring slots.
Yes, they are.
And
very
now they are interesting. But yeah, they all have sort of interesting, weird things. There's even engineering goggles that let you see further in the distance, and let's see. They have that unique Azurite I was just talking about. Let's see.
I'm looking at some of the others to see if anything else is worth mentioning.
Oh, the rings are interesting as well. So the rings the fourth boss drops rings that basically say, if you damage an energy under a certain condition, ... And by themselves, they're not really special. And then the eighth boss, not the eighth boss. A later boss drops the matching item that says, oh, well, when you deal damage, then you gain this very specific effect. So you can mix and match those 4 rings to basically give yourself a nice customizable set bonus. So, for example, if you damage an enemy while you're behind them, then you heal up to 5 injured allies. Or if you use 3 different spells on the same target, then you gain haste. Or if you use 3 different spells, then you heal up to 5 different allies. So you can just mix and match them for all sorts of wacky combinations. So, but that is not at launch. That is at season 3,
which is 2 weeks after.
Yeah, and while you can get the punch card trinket at the start of Rise of Ashara, there are punch cards that are only from this dungeon.
Yep.
So you will, similar to essences, some of the really cool ones, you have to wait a bit.
Yep.
Good things take more time.
I mean, it sounds in general like the more content you do, the better. The more different content. Because it seems like the gear is spread around in different places. PvP, PvE, dungeons. Yeah. All of it.
The punch cards, actually, there are some really wild sources with things. Like I'm looking over the guide, and I think that you need to loot 1 punch card from a Mechagon rare, and then you need to open up your junkyard tinkering window while having that punch card equipped, and then you can learn a new recipe. So that seems really elaborate. Like you have to equip one even if you don't want it to discover the others.
Yeah.
Which I think that's kind of, I think that's kind of fun and clever.
I just suddenly got the smell of smoke in my room. My window's open, and I think someone's probably smoking out their window or something. And I can't really close it either because it's so warm in my apartment. I even have a fan rolling. It's we're not used to heat in Sweden. So once we get these degrees like 25, which I calculated is apparently around 80 degrees Fahrenheit, we're dying here out of sweat. It's so warm. And now somebody's smoking outside the window. Not cool. But it's okay. I'm sure it'll go away soon.
You need to send Luna after them to...
Yes, Luna, please. Attack the cigarette. Throw it out of their hand. No. No, it's really nice if you're outside. It's just not very nice when you're inside.
Yeah.
And Perk is thinking like, wait, 80 degrees is nothing. That's like winter for us.
Yeah, when I did the show last week, it was 95 degrees, and that's why all the bugs were coming into the house, because they do it when it's hot. Yeah. And Brightpaw was going to town, killing things, and also hogging the air conditioner.
Yeah.
He loved it. He's like, oh, it feels so nice on my fur being ruffled.
Wait, does Brightpaw like heat?
He likes everything.
Okay. Because I've noticed that Luna
is... the idea of, like, the fan ruffling his fur.
Yeah.
He has a personal servant fanning him.
It was kind of, like, off topic, because I just realized that Luna has been laying flat on her tummy so much since the heat. She's just, like, sitting there, or laying there, just chilling. I don't know if she's uncomfortable or if she likes it, but she's just sort of, like, laying there. She doesn't even bother running anymore.
Yeah.
It's funny saying that. Apparently cats love heat. Okay, so that's good. So maybe she's enjoying it then. Not suffering. Not wondering, why do I have this fur? She's just like, this is cool. This is nice. So that's good. But yeah, those were the different ways of gearing up. I'm not sure if we missed any of them that we...
Well, there's also the general item and PvP, but we've updated all of our gear guides to go over that. There's also, new world bosses, which is cool.
Yes.
But these 4 systems were the most intricate that we wanted to specifically highlight.
Gotcha.
So,
yes, let's jump into the next section here on potential secrets.
Yep.
Oh yeah,
these
Yeah.
These
You
were
go ahead.
compiled for us by the Secret Finding Discord because, they're very anxious to find a new puzzle to solve, like the hive mind.
Mm-hmm.
And some of these were puzzles that were small, that were already discovered, while others we don't have the source for, so they could be pretty intricate.
Mm-hmm. Fabius
So,
was a very, very pretty mount.
yeah. So, Fabius
I
is
have a
an unarmored
picture.
version.
Mm-hmm.
Is an unarmored version of the seahorse mount, and the drop source is Fabius, but the NPC has not been data mined on the PTR, which means that no one has actually seen Fabius. He's not just a rare spawn swimming around. And when we made the post, Muffinus had a tweet being like, Fabius is not a drop. Fabius must be experienced. So
Oh,
we
interesting.
think that is a puzzle.
Yes, yes, yes. Sounds like it. It's a very pretty mount. And actually, this kind of brings back the topic of the new zones. So, Perk, you may need to remind me exactly how it's unlocked, or maybe it's automatic, I'm not sure. But in Nazjatar, you can use underwater mounts as ground mounts. So as you're
Yeah,
just walking around, you can actually use the seahorse if you happen to get it. So how do we obtain the ability to do that?
Okay. So it is from an item called, where is it in the, it is some sort of coral.
Mm-hmm. Because I think that's really cool. Being able to
Yeah.
use because we're barely in water, and in the few zones that are in water, we try to avoid them because it's usually very slow and annoying to be there. So being able to show off your water mounts in this new zone as regular ground mounts is pretty cool.
Yeah. So you purchase this coral for a very small amount of mana pearls, and then all of the otherwise underwater mounts like the Fathom Rays or the Reigns of Sidus, all those mounts will then work. Some of them look better than others. Some of them have clipping issues, but yeah, they will all work and sort of add to the immersion. Like we mentioned earlier in the show, you're not actually underwater because Shara is using her Tidestone.
Yep.
But this is an underwater
like
theme area.
Yeah, yeah. It's it fits
Also,
very well with the theme of the area.
we tested this with flying, and if you have flying unlocked and have this coral item, then you will be able to use the underwater mounts in the air.
So you can fly with them too?
Yeah.
That's so cool.
A little flying seahorse.
Yeah, imagine using a water mount and it's fast in the air.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's very cool. But yeah, it just occurred to me now when I saw the seahorse. I wanted to mention it.
Yeah. So another thing that we have to know is the Mechagon hard mode, as mentioned. It seems very similar to the Karazhan achievement, where you have to do things in a certain order and quickly. But the catch is that we don't know what the reward is yet.
So it might be better gear for it, maybe.
Yeah, or it could be. We know that the first half has a hard mode, but we don't know if the second half has a hard mode, and if so, how to trigger that. So we know that there's an achievement. Let's see. There's an achievement where you have to basically not die and do something special to get the rank for Vision of Perfection. But we don't know if that is, maybe that's the hard mode reward if you like do everything on hard mode and don't die. And another hard mode achievement, keep DPSing and nobody explodes, is prevent the destruction of all non-robotic life on Azeroth on mythic difficulty. And the prevent the destruction part, we think, means doing it a certain way.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, we don't, maybe it could be a mount, maybe you unlock a lot of punch cards that way. Maybe Blizzard sometimes does sneaky things where you can't data mine stuff in advance, so maybe they are putting these items in that special, cannot data mine way. And when
Yeah.
someone finally gets it, like a new mount will just, appear out of the blue.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so that's another one. And hopefully the challenge will make up for Mechagon not having Mythic Plus. Maybe this can just be like a fun speed run to do.
Yep.
That
would keep
another
us
thing
busy.
we wanted to highlight is the B mount.
Yes, let me show a picture of it.
Yes.
Oh, that is not the picture of the bee. Yeah, the bee mount is a mount that we have discussed before, and it started off being a complete question mark. We weren't even sure if we would have it as a mount, and then we found out, okay, it does look like we're gonna get this at some point, and then we weren't sure where we're gonna get it. So what do we know now?
So it's coming for Alliance players. And we believe that you need to have Bumbles already, the battle pet from the Alliance only quest line.
Mm-hmm.
And the hints make it seem like you need to find someone who speaks bee. So we think that you'll have to do some sort of dailies or turn-ins with Bumbles out, and you will turn in rep to the Hive Mother, and you will go through friendship ranks with the bees, ranging from drone to queen bee, and we assume that when you hit queen bee, you will get the bee mount.
Yes, exactly. And I see a comment in the chat. Amy speaks gibberish. Is that close enough? I hope so. I hope so. I believe... Oh, Luna's in the background, I just noticed.
Oh,
She's
yay, Luna.
enjoying the wind from the window, I think. It's like I've kept it like enough open for her to be able to peek a little bit, but she can't actually get through, and she keeps sitting over there just to peek through.
Nice.
Yes.
Sass is sending me videos of Bright Paw destroying a scratching post.
Oh, Bright Paw. Oh, I would have loved it if Bright Paw and Luna could meet each other. Maybe one day.
I think they'd get along.
Yeah. Maybe Bright Paw would teach Luna how to be more, what's the word? Mischievous?
Yes.
So she could be a bit more wild.
Aw. Maybe Luna would teach Bright Paw how to, take some rest now.
Like, it's enough now. Now it's time to rest, okay? Now it's sleepy time. You need to calm down.
The final secret we wanted to highlight, and there are still more. There's still some, minor.
Sorry for interrupting. Your voice is very strange now. Could you say something again?
Test.
Better. There you go. Yes, we
I
have
moved
one more
from
point.
my left hand to my right hand. So
Really?
Yes.
Okay, so you have one voice on one side of your face and another voice
Yes.
on the other side. Good to know. But yes, you were saying.
We wanted to highlight, as the last secret on the show, even though there are a few more in the linked post, some paint tints for a mount, which is Gallywix spelled backwards. So it's ZYLAG ATV. The base mount is crafted by recipes blacksmiths and engineers learn from the Mechagon dungeon. But there are 3 more tints in blue, green, and red, and we're not sure where they're from.
Mm-hmm.
But we think that they're drops in the dungeon somewhere, but we're not exactly sure. And yeah, you can get the mount in 4 different colors then.
Mm-hmm. I think that's really cool because I feel like this sort of opens the idea of being able to have tints that you choose yourself. Because they could have just given us the 3 different mounts, right? Or just given us one and then forget about the other colors. But the fact that we're given the ability to paint it feels like maybe we could see something similar for Transmog in the future.
I think that would be really nice. Because if Blizzard is like, oh, why aren't favorite mount? It's like, well, maybe it doesn't match my Transmog.
Yeah.
That's why I'm not using my favorite mount.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So maybe more tints for more mounts, maybe more tints for more transmogs, and everything will be the exact tint that you ever wanted, instead of like, oh no, these pants are a little bit too green compared to these kind of green chest pieces or whatever, when you're working on making things match each other.
Yeah. So those are some of the secrets. There could be more. Before we talk about the patch notes that came out, we wanted to remind you we have a giveaway going on for our 200th show. You enter for the Enchanted Fey Dragon and Alterac Brewpup by typing the following keyword into Twitch chat, WHW200.
There you go.
And we also have some new subs.
Yes, we do. We have some resubs. We got one from 10020, 17 months in a row. Luna Blue Rose with the Prime sub. And Swiggy Swoo with the 18 months in a row. That's another year and a half one. That's my time here. And we also have a 200-bit donation from Mika Muka. So thank you very much for that.
Oh, I love all the themed subs and sharing. That is very thoughtful.
All right. So apparently we also had some new patch notes, some updates from as late as today. Is that right, Perk?
Yeah. Blizzard dropped their survival guide and their patch notes. And while a lot of these things are things we've actually been discussing on the show, there were a few surprises, and including some that content chat is pointing out to me, being like, oh, like we didn't highlight this in the news, should we highlight this? So I'll just highlight some interesting fun things we learned quickly. We knew that with transmog you can now hide any slot.
Oh, you're cutting out now.
Test.
Yes, I can hear you. I think you were talking about hiding slots.
Equipment? Oh yeah, you can hide all slots.
Yes.
With transmog except for legs. So we knew that. But there was another line in the notes saying that several items are now eligible for transmog, and these are the silly items that you can never transmog before, like Cookie's Tenderizer, the Dire Brew Shanker, and Nat's hat.
So they're adding more things to the being able to transmog category.
Yeah.
Nice.
And they hinted that they would be looking at that in future patches, but I guess they've started sooner than later.
Yep.
So maybe more will be on the way then. Another which I don't think we've covered before. Again. Oh no, and maybe it's really bad weather. I don't know.
Maybe. Let me cover this point.
Okay.
So, good news for people who like going back, farming old transmogs. Hellfire Assault can now be soloed, which is great for everyone who wants to go back to old content to pick up any old transmogs that you may not have yet. I'm not sure what that was, but there was some kind of sound from Perk's phone. Are you okay, Perk?
Yeah, I actually put the phone down because I didn't know if maybe my hand was covering it in some way. Does it sound any better?
It sounds not better. It sounds worse, actually. The sound was actually fine. It's just that it was cutting a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah. Are you back to normal now? Because now it sounds better.
Yeah, I'm moving it around.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, you sound good now.
All right. The another interesting thing that some of the Wowhead writers were just discussing, actually, this is more technical, but just highlighting it. Gear scaling is a bit different. Most item effects that deal damage or healing now scale differently, and to quote the devs, the net effect of these changes is that almost all items that deal damage or healing in battle for Azeroth are now moderately stronger, and the difference is greater the higher the item level of the item. So I feel like a lot of items got a buff, especially at high.
So are we talking about items such as trinkets, or what are we talking about?
Yeah, items that have effects and procs.
Okay, cool. So that means gear matters more?
Yeah.
Since there's a bigger difference in item level? the higher it is.
Yeah.
Okay, Perk is gone again. But I think I heard her say yeah, so that was
Yep.
a confirmation. Yep, I heard the yep. There we go.
So those were 3 notes from the patch notes that we thought really but most of the stuff was very similar to what we already
Mm-hmm.
you know, it goes into like every little class change. It talks about like the new Pepe toy. It talks about power adjustments and
Mm-hmm.
you know, mythic keystone dungeon updates, enemy forces, a bunch of little things like that. I feel that for a while in Legion, the patch notes were not very detailed, and in 8.15 and these, they've gotten better.
That's good. That
So
is good. Yeah, I think we can move on to the next topic,
Mhm.
which is an interesting one. When was this from? Like 2 days ago or so? Ian had
Yeah.
a dev insights video. So we
Yeah,
wanted to sort of highlight the important things that he talked about.
yeah. So this came out 2 days ago, and it was initially lost in the hype of the release date. And then it's like, oh wait, there's another video besides the trailer. Let's look at
Yep.
that.
Yep.
Basically, the most important thing we learned is that Ian was basically stating that the class changes and pruning had gone too far, giving examples of complexity that was removed, like alter time for mages and stances for warrior. And in addition to pruning too much, they were also emphasizing spec identity
Mm-hmm.
at the expense of class identity.
Yep.
So, right now, some specs feel like they are a totally different class, but the core of WoW should be that the fantasy of the class should draw you in on the character creation screen.
Mm-hmm.
So,
So you have more
this
things
is,
that feels like you, regardless of what spec you play.
yeah, which is interesting because they've been waffling back and forth a lot on this. So,
Mm-hmm.
you know, in Cataclysm, we had these very complex trees that were removed for talent trees in Mist of Pandaria.
Mm-hmm.
And then we saw a ton of pruning in Warlords. And then Legion was really into the lore and story of class fantasy. So I
Mm-hmm.
feel like that made things better, but at the same time, Legion was really emphasizing specs doing unique things. You know, everyone had artifact weapons, survival got a huge
Yep.
revamp. The
Yep.
specs were meant to feel and look very different.
Yep.
And
It
now in
became more important.
BFA,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, now with BFA, we no longer have the story of class fantasy, so the sort of glaring design issues of these wildly different specs are sort of like unmasked and brought to the forefront.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it also makes me wonder because if Legion was about class identity and that was, you know, doing really well among players, getting them enthusiastic, um, you know, why did Blizzard really pull back on that in BFA? I mean, I guess it seems
Yep.
obvious in hindsight, like, oh, you know, everyone loves class fantasy. Why,
Yeah.
why did you take this away from us?
Yeah.
Um, I wonder if Classic had anything to do with it.
That's a good question, actually. Maybe this is a sign that even during the beta itself, there's a lot more interest than they were expecting. Maybe.
Yeah, I think they were discussing in the video that they wanted to do things like give specs back some abilities that didn't necessarily fit the spec but were just core class abilities.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel that's a very classic thing where you had a bunch of abilities and some didn't totally make sense or you'd use all the time, but they were there if you wanted to use them.
Mm-hmm.
So I wonder if the response to Classic and the increased discussion around, like, why is this class fun to play even if it's not, perfectly designed with cool, state-of-the-art animations, why do people still feel attached to their, classic beta character?
Yeah.
Maybe that's what got Blizzard thinking and ready to release a statement on this.
Mm-hmm. I really liked how he described the whole process, or the whole thinking process around Altered Time as well. How
Yeah.
it could be used in such special situations, either to save you or you mess up and it kills you. And at the same time, there's probably tons and tons of people who don't even have it binded because it's not an ability you have to have. And the fact that they themselves, in their own offices have realized maybe it's okay. If an ability isn't used all the time, there are some people out there who will, maximize the usage for it and be as good as possible with it. And they should get rewarded for using all their buttons.
Yeah, I think that's a good example of, Blizzard's always talking about complexity, like, oh, this class is simple to pick up but hard to master. And I like when there are abilities like Alter Time because you can be really creative and do stuff with it. But if you don't use it, it won't affect your immediate baseline gameplay.
Yeah, you don't lose anything by not binding it.
Yeah. So I feel that also earlier in BFA, like, they were all about, we want more classes to have utility. And that was a struggle because, as we saw in MDI, the same classes were just taken everywhere.
Yep.
So maybe they're like, okay, well, this whole, like, spec specific out, let's just go back to what we know works. People like their classes doing certain things. Let's go back to a more older approach that's tried and true that will work. It wasn't all about class identity, though. He a few other interesting details is he talked about the issue of the PvP items from PvP issue a little bit. This answer wasn't totally satisfactory because I know a lot of people want the PvP vendors, back.
Yes, bring the vendors back.
Yeah. But what he did say was that it's okay if some top items come from, PvP from PvE and vice versa.
Yep.
But the Crucible effects, the Crucible items are a problem, but he doesn't think the source is the problem. He thinks that
the item,
even if the Crucible items were from PvP, they were still a problem because they really would screw up effects and pacing. So like they were just problems in general. Which is true, but bring back PvP vendors.
Yeah, because those items, just what they did was extend the length of the fights.
Yeah. And, you had, like, gladiators being like, oh, I hope I get this item to drop. I need for the arena tournament. And
then some people get it the last week.
Yeah.
Of the season.
So, we also learned that essences will not have their sources nerfed. If you get a difficult one now, you can still feel proud of that later. And so, for example, a top rank essence from Mythic Ashara won't suddenly be from normal Ashara in patch 8.3. And they may add future, but they expect the Rise of Ashara ones to still be relevant. And it makes sense. Like, a lot of them they're not stat stick.
No.
It's not like
they have,
Azerite
like, interesting effects. Yeah.
Yeah. So they'll still be really powerful in the future. Yeah. This was also interesting because Ian for a while was doing streams, and I think they started to feel kind of like predictable, or just were starting to sound like, infomercials for the next patch. And there's always like people asking really weird questions, or not weird, but just like very trivial questions or things that were already answered in blue posts.
Yeah.
So I think that it's good that he was trying to innovate and make a video instead of a live stream, because with the video he could explain these concepts more in detail instead of having to stop talking to, fit in a certain number of questions.
Yep. Yeah, that's a very good point.
But yeah, another thing which caused some controversy, which Ian probably did not want to answer in a Q&A, is the whole twink leveling nerf situation.
Yes. So maybe we should introduce it with a way for people who don't know about this. Having a demon hunter at level 110 or 111 and twinking it, locking your XP and gearing it as good as possible for that level makes it possible for you to run through a fast dungeon like Freehold while you're boosting a level 110 character up to 120. This is something that I have even done myself. I boosted a warrior as recently as of today to 120 using this method, and this method will in 8.2, aka next week, be nerfed.
Yes. So this buff sort of showed up on the PTR, and people on the XP off forum were concerned that this could be used for, griefing or trolling, maybe. So there was this buff, and the buff was that if you're grouped up with an XP locked twink, your own experience would be reduced as well.
Mm-hmm.
So people were concerned that someone could, go in a random queue, and then random groups would be trolled and not get experience.
Yeah. So for example, if Perk decides, hey, I don't want to gain XP anymore, I want to twink, she locks her XP, I'm in her group, I won't gain XP now, or it's heavily reduced. So that could obviously be easily abused by people trolling, but Blizz made it clear that this is only for groups that are manually set up, correct? So
yes.
Not if you're in LFG or similar. So if you end up
right.
with random people who have their XP locked, you don't have to worry about it.
But this still means that the island and freehold boosting is still nerfed, because if you're in an organized group knowingly inviting a twink, then you will not benefit from that experience.
Yep.
So this raises a few questions. It's like, why was there no blue post at first about this? Because people were very sensitive about this whole situation just sort of appearing on the PTR over the weekend.
Mm-hmm. Because some people have spent a lot of time and gold gearing their demon hunters.
Yeah, which ties into the other question, which was, why is Blizzard so especially concerned about leveling? Now, the ban wave in April is, it was obviously very different and, clearly crossing a line.
That was the XP pot abusing.
Yeah, but Blizzard was very severe with the ban wave in April, as opposed to other things that could also be, grounds for a banner changing as well. So they seem very concerned about the leveling experience being not what they have intended in their minds.
Yep.
And we also got that island post in December, how Blizzard was trying to find a solution for the power leveling in Island as well. So that to me is just interesting, because if people want to level and play the game with whatever method they want, and should something like Freehold or Island stay in the game as an option?
Yeah, I don't really feel like it hurts the game, but I understand it though, because it does make leveling feel kind of useless and pointless. Yeah. Well, how do you feel about it?
It's a part of a bigger conversation that I don't think your first character should be able to do it that quickly. No. But after so many characters, what are you getting out of it? And maybe a bigger question is, like, why does the leveling feel bad? Like, why do people want to skip this? And could anything be done to make it feel more, pleasant or exciting? Because right now, people want to skip this because it feels like a waste of time or repetitive. So maybe that's something Blizzard should be trying to figure out as well, because you wouldn't want people you wouldn't want people saying, "Oh, so much, I'm not going to play. I'm going to have no character at 120 versus some alts."
Yeah.
I think this is interesting timing with the leveling survey we talked about last week, because if Blizzard wants to change how leveling works and they're dissatisfied with the current version in BFA, so that's why there's the survey. Plus, they also don't want these shortcuts with twinking. They seem to have a vision in mind of what they do want. Right now, we only know what they don't want, which is the current system and no islands or freehold.
Yeah.
But they seem to have some ideal in they're working towards, where I assume leveling would be easier and is meant to feel more rewarding.
Yeah.
So maybe we will learn about that soon, sooner than later.
I think
especially at that level.
I think you might be right that they took inspiration a little bit from Classic with this as well.
Yeah, like seeing all the hype on Classic of raising the level cap every few levels, it was interesting for me writing articles because I had so much stuff to put in them. Like I would say, oh, the level cap went from 30 to 40. You can learn writing, you get your 31-point talents, you learn a new profession tier, you can,
and in terms
go to
of
these
talents,
30 new dungeons. You can get a new set of like twink BOEs, and there was so much stuff to write. But if someone was telling me, hey, can you write a similar thing for BFA, like that just wouldn't have that same level of excitement. Even the stress test going from 10 to 15, I was like, oh, you can do dead mines now. You can still train more profession ranks. Like there's still a lot of stuff you can do. Yeah,
and they have
level
BGs
40,
available too.
It's like, oh, like you get mail, you get plate as like a paladin. There's a lot of big things you could do in the leveling process, and that same feeling of accomplishment and getting something meaningful every few levels just isn't the same on retail. So, maybe we will start seeing some more Classic inspiration as time goes on, or at the very least, Blizzard's vision for leveling will become clearer.
And didn't we talk about level squish last week? So maybe it's soon going to be level 60 again?
Yeah, level squish is 60. If you missed the show last week, level squish is 60. And
it was confirmed 60? I thought it was a guess.
Oh, I think that's it. Yeah, I think the survey said it was 60.
Okay.
I'm pulling it up. They had two questions that were very important about leveling in the survey. So much news. Back. Oh yeah, it was right before the show.
Okay.
The question was, are you aware that the maximum level of 120 will be reduced in the future? And then the level squish will reduce the total number of levels required to access the most current game content. The new level cap will be dramatically lower than the current level cap of 120. How much would you like or dislike a reduction in character levels?
Okay. Gotcha.
So dramatically lower sounds like we're gonna cut it in half to me.
Yeah, dramatic, that's what it sounds like to me too.
Yeah. So that was the survey, and the wording was pretty conclusive in there.
Yep.
And it Ian first shared the idea at the March 21st Q&A, and then also followed up on this topic in an interview with Buffed DE, and basically saying that it feels bad how your character improves by 0.3%, and that it would be cool if every level give you a reward instead of levels that currently give you nothing.
Yep. Exactly.
So that is the leveling situation. Which is a good tie-in to our next topic, which we want to remind you, the Classic stress test is going on. Speaking of low levels.
Yeah, speaking of low levels, there is a Classic stress test going on right now, which is mainly targeting US and Oceanic accounts.
Well, yes, not mainly, it is, which
Okay,
has
it
led
is
to
only.
EU problems.
Oh, imagine being EU. Yeah, okay.
I
I don't have to
know, I'm
imagine.
for it.
So apparently you get access as long as you have an active subscription to US Oceanic. Is that how it works?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, lots of players have access. The
Yeah.
level cap this time for the test is 15. The last time it was 10.
Mm-hmm.
And we're just talking about how in Classic, those extra 5 levels are a big deal
Oh
because
yeah.
you can do a bunch of new stuff,
Oh yeah. For sure.
like
Whoa.
Wailing Caverns and Dead Mine. Even though it's really difficult, but you can still do them. Warsong Gulch.
Can you hear that
Journeyman.
outside?
No, what was that?
Okay, maybe I'm not sure if stream can hear it. Maybe it's just maybe there's a noise gate on Discord. Yeah, okay, I think
What's
people can
going
hear it on. It's like I don't know, a motorcycle or a car or something that's making a lot
Oh
of noise.
no. First there's fire, and now there's a motorcycle.
A plane? Almost. No, it's a motorcycle, I believe. It sounded like a motorcycle. But yeah, sorry. It distracted me because it was pretty loud. But you can go on.
So there's Warsong Gulch,
Mm-hmm.
Journeyman Professions,
Mm-hmm.
and in addition to the starting zones, you can do quests in some other zones like Westfall or Barrens or Silver Pine Forest. And of course, if you want to, you can roam the world, but it will get very difficult at higher levels.
Yep. Yep.
And
Which
you can
some
put
of us
6
experienced in
points.
beta.
Yep, 6 points into talent.
Yes.
So again, what about EU?
Yeah. What's gonna happen with EU now? Do we get a chance later, Perk?
Yes,
We
so,
do. Nice.
This is just to test launch conditions on one server. EU will be part of July, which is going to test a multi-server launch.
Okay.
So my guess is that July means that everyone is able to play.
Probably.
But it's I just want to clarify that when we're talking about playing, it's not like the purpose of the beta is not, it's not a gift from Blizzard to give you like
here,
a
play the
free
game
day
for free.
of game time.
Yeah.
This isn't like BlizzCon where it's a reward for getting the virtual ticket and you're meant to have this like perfect experience. Like this is to help them stress test. So during the stress test, if you don't log on US, like that's part of the experience. And if you don't get invited because you're in EU, well that's also part of the experience. They were trying to test like this one server working.
Oh.
And so I don't know. I think that maybe because it's part of the BlizzCon package, people have expectations or think this is a similar thing. But the purpose is very different here.
Yep. People have to remember they're doing this in order to have a as smooth as possible launch when it's actually out at the end of August.
Yeah, and they have to test a lot of things we don't even think about.
Yep.
Like if you're staring at the login screen and you're like, oh, this isn't fun, it's like, well, yeah, but they want to get the bugs out now because they don't want everyone playing in August and having this issue. Like it was so bad with Warlords, remember how like it wasn't tested and then there was that massive bottleneck at the garrison and that was a disaster.
Yep.
So but yeah, so that's about it as far as news. We do have some quick Wowhead updates we wanted to go over, but we can do a final call for the giveaway first.
Yeah, let's start with the final call. We have an Enchanted Fey Dragon and Ultrek Brew Pup bundle, so you get a mount and a pet. The keyword for the raffle is WHW200. I'll type that as well, WHW200. To enter the raffle, subscribers do have extra chance to win. So those of you guys who are subbed, you get a little bit extra chance of being able to be picked in the raffle. We also have a resub, Mika Muka, with a 21 months. He was also the one who gifted the 200 bits earlier. So thank you for that. And yeah, let's listen to Perk go through the recent updates on the Wowhead website.
Yeah. So we were obviously very busy for 8.2 and we've been pushing tons of guides out. Like Neri did the Nashitar guide a few days ago. We've been updating our trackers, like flying and attunement. Class guides are coming along, except Blizzard keeps changing things, so our writers have to keep updating. So all the guides, but we also have a few features that we wanted to share now, just putting them live on the site today, so we'll discuss them next week too. But just to highlight some things, our model just got a really huge update. So some of the things that looked kind of blocky, like weird flame effects like Ragnaros or that helm from the shop, the Flame Crown, they look way, way, way better. So definitely check that out. We will have a post later today on that, but you get a little sneak of that. And speaking of our guides, we were getting a lot of feedback that our guides were very cramped, especially if you were using them on a, second monitor. People have like a potato computer or a small laptop they have Wowhead running on as they're playing in game on a nicer computer, and the guides were looking very like smushed. So we redid the layout and all the spacing, so things should just be easier on the eyes, like more space in between things. So they look nicer and the headers and information stand out better than before.
Gotcha.
We also want to let you know we're working really hard on plastic tools as well. The calculator, the talent calc, is now mobile friendly, and we are working really hard on our gear and stat planner tool. We have spent the last week having the Wowhead client get your character stats at all different levels. So that's not documented by Blizzard. We need to use our add-on for it, and we have a lot of data, so we are working on having the tool support stat formulas and gear choices at all levels, which should be good for twinking as well as level 60
useful.
characters. So it's taking a little longer than we thought because it's not as simple as just, taking a table of numbers and putting them, into the tool. We were trying to gather the data because, like some recollections from, classic or private servers are not exactly correct. So we were verifying things by ourselves, but that is coming along really well. And hopefully we will have that to share with you as well. Also, as a side note with our class guides, we know a lot of people like raid bots here. And if you go to any of our stat pages or raid advice pages, we now have like a little interactive section where you type in your character name and it will pull up personalized recommendations for you on raid bots. So the idea is that you can read the Wowhead guide first to, learn what the stats do and get general advice, and then have raid bots easily give you the like very precise personalized advice for your setup.
Yes.
So we have a lot going on in addition to all the 8.2 updates. So,
Sounds
on
like a lot of
Tuesday, you will
polishing.
see, you will see things like, the World Quest page will be tracking Nashitar. Today in WoW, we'll have new stuff on the front. The menus will all get updates. But yeah, we just wanted to give you a sneak peek because we don't have any, news articles on this stuff yet. But we wanted to, just celebrate and give you guys a little special look at what is coming very soon on the site.
Yeah, and that's really useful. So that's awesome.
Yep.
I think we might have a giveaway winner. I'm not sure. Or maybe not.
I see Sass has typed giveaway winner in chat, but not a winner.
Okay, maybe we don't have a winner yet. Oh, no, we do. I'm Rumor was the winner. There you go. Congratulations.
Yay!
And it sounds like he also responded, so that's perfect. Awesome. Yes, we have a winner. Congratulations. You get a new mount and a new pet. And that mount is quite special. It's one of the few mounts in the game that changes color over time.
Yeah, which is fitting because we were talking about mounts that you can get different tints of, and this is sort of like the original.
This one has all of them.
Shape-shifting one. Yeah.
We also had a new sub, Pancho833, coming in with his Prime sub, his or her Prime sub. So thank you for that.
Yeah, thank you.
And I think that sort of leads us towards the end of the show. Do we have any questions maybe from the chat?
So far the only messages I've gotten from Sass are pictures of Brightpaw, including one
brilliant.
where Brightpaw is wearing a beard and also has a rainbow filter. So
that's perfect. That's actually brilliant. Maybe if you read the pictures, you will see a question. Maybe. Enchanted Fey Dragon. Yes, that's the mount we're talking about. That's the one that he just won. I also see a question. Isn't that actually the only mount that changes colors over time? I'm not sure if you guys have noticed, but I recently was told and realized that the what is the mount called again? The one from Ahead of the Curve in Legion, from Argus.
The Violet Spellwing.
Yes, the Violet Spellwing changes color. It goes from a sort of violet to a blue, and then back to violet, back and forth.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that was a very cool reward, too. I remember the person who made it was tweeting, I think that was the last WoW sparkly thing she made before switching projects.
Oh, it's a really cool mount. I recently started using it again. It's very sweet.
Oh, apparently Sass is now telling me that he just found a picture of a cat that looked like Brightpaw and uploaded it to me. So, I don't know. He's trolling me with... I have random cat pictures now. Of Brightpaw.
So not enough of Brightpaw. Now there's random pictures too. That's perfect.
Yeah. Well,
yes.
The scratching post was Brightpaw though.
Yes, of course. I'm not sure if another cat could do that. You'd have to be in the same percentile of being a a tiger or a lion?
Yes, 100% percentile of tiger DNA.
That's it. That's it. Yes, Brightpaw is in the 100th percentile. And yes, I also got reminded of the Spellwings that we gave away right before Legion ended. It was one of my best periods of streaming. We had I think a full month every weekend where we just kept boosting people to get that mount. And we managed to boost over 1,000 people to get that mount in the last month. It was very, very cool. Very cool experience to be able to help people get that. And I still have people come up to me, even recently now at DreamHack Summer. I was there just over the weekend. There were like one or two people who came up to me and said that they've known my stream since those days of boosting the Spellwings. That's how they found my stream. And I actually helped them get the mount, which is very, very cool. Very cool to hear.
That's really sweet. I wish Blizzard did more stuff like that.
Yes.
You don't want it to be repetitive, but I think it's really nice how it brings people together.
Yes, like things that are like not too difficult, but still difficult enough to be able to just like go and do solo, so that you can come together as a group and just help people get it.
Yeah, and you had really good experiences doing that with challenge modes too, expansions earlier. So
yes.
Yeah.
And I saw another comment from Aegis and I remember when you listed a group in the LFG tool and there were instantly 400 signups. Yes, I remember that too. It was insane. What we tried to do, the raid can take 30 people, so what we tried to do was fill it with between 15 and 18 people from LFG, so that we were at least 12 people from our regular people who's actually carrying. All these carries, so to speak, were also people from the stream. So it's not like, because I'm not in a raiding guild, you know? It's not like I just brought my raiders, my mythic raider friends, and we did it together. Even the carry people were people from my stream. So it was a really cool experience.
Cool.
Yes.
So, on that positive note, I think we can wrap things up.
Yes. There's unfortunately not going to be a high five. But instead, what you can look at are these lovely balloons as a little celebration for having the 200th episode of Wowhead Weekly. Well, what happened to Perk? Perk is out traveling, so therefore we have a picture of her and a picture of Brightpaw instead of video, just to make it not completely empty.
When I'm on the East Coast, my parents' internet is not as awesome, so we decided to go with the really good audio as opposed to bad audio and bad video.
Yeah. No, I think the audio is fine, to be honest. I think there was only like one or two moments where it felt like it was cutting out a bit, but it wasn't too bad. The sound itself always sounded good. There was no bad sounds. I love your top, by the way. Thank you. I'm actually wearing my Pepe shirt.
Oh,
Representing Pepe.
Pepe has a new costume, by the way, in
Oh.
Rise of Ashara, a little steampunk
Oh,
mechanical
yes.
Pepe.
I remember seeing that. Yes. That's going to be nice to see. Pop the balloons.
Aw.
I don't know. Do we do it? No.
I mean, no, let's
No.
keep them up.
We're going to keep them up, guys.
Yeah.
For the full show. After the show,
Yeah.
I'll have fun popping the balloons. By myself.
Or
And
Luna and Brightpaw can pop the balloons.
Luna is actually so afraid of balloons.
Aw.
When I had a bunch of balloons around the cat tree, because that's the part that's visible on stream, and I didn't realize, but she was purposely avoiding the cat tree because she could see the balloons there. She just wouldn't get close to it. And as soon as I removed all the balloons, she jumped up onto the tree again. She just doesn't like them.
When last time Brightpaw was staying with Sass, there was a balloon, I think, from his nephew's first birthday. It was floating in the corner, and Brightpaw was just sort of staring at it.
Yeah.
And
It's mine.
I think a week later, Sass was like, "Oh yeah, bench started to sink, so Brightpaw like got it and destroyed it."
Of course. It's great that Brightpaw does exactly what is expected of him.
Being a cat.
Yes, being a lovely cat. But yeah, that's going to be it for us for tonight, guys. Thank you so much for watching, supporting, all the resubs, the bits, hanging out in or on the Wowhead front page as well. Also, shout out to those of you who subscribe with the Wowhead Premium subscription. And yeah, for hanging out. And we will see you guys again next week, same time. Are you going to be home at that point, Perk, or are you still going to be out?
I will likely still be out, but you will hear my audio. Maybe I'll get a different picture for next time. We may even have a guest. Katsuki is working on it.
Mm-hmm. That's okay.
Yeah.
That's okay. This way we can see Brightpaw the entire show. So there's one little positive and the negative of missing Perk. And at least we can hear you, so it's not too bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, well. In that case, this is our cue to say goodbye. Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye. Have a great 8.2.
Oh, yes. By the time it's next show, you guys will be in Mechagon, probably. In Nezatar. Yep.
Both of them.
Both of them. All right. Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye.